The National Electrical Code, or NEC, requires a grounding electrode system for all buildings or structures supplied by electrical power. This system ensures a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, facilitating the operation of overcurrent protective devices like circuit breakers or fuses. In the context of a single-family residence, one component of this grounding electrode system often involves ground rods. The NEC Section 250.53 A2 specifically addresses ground rods and pipe electrodes. It states that a single ground rod is permitted under certain conditions, but it also mandates supplemental grounding if certain resistance requirements are not met. Specifically, if a single ground rod does not have a resistance to ground of 25 ohms or less, a supplemental electrode is required. This supplemental electrode can be another ground rod, or another type of approved grounding electrode, such as a ground ring, a metal underground water pipe, or a concrete encased electrode, also known as a UFA ground. The 25 ohms resistance requirement stems from the need to ensure that the grounding electrode can effectively dissipate fault current into the earth. High resistance to ground can impede the flow of fault current, potentially delaying the operation of overcurrent protective devices and increasing the risk of electrical shock. Therefore, measuring the ground resistance is a critical step in ensuring the effectiveness of the grounding electrode system. The measurement of ground resistance is typically performed using a ground resistance meter, also known as a soil resistance tester. This device employs a three-point fall of potential method, where the meter injects a test current into the earth and measures the resulting voltage drop. By analyzing the current and voltage, the meter calculates the resistance to ground. The NEC does not specify the exact method for measuring ground resistance, but it does require that the measurement be performed in a manner that accurately reflects the resistance of the grounding electrode to ground. If the initial ground rod does not meet the 25 ohms resistance requirement, the installation of a supplemental electrode is necessary. The supplemental electrode must be bonded to the original ground rod with a suitable bonding conductor. The size of this bonding conductor is determined by NEC Table 250.66, which specifies the minimum size of grounding electrode conductors based on the size of the service entrance conductors. The supplemental electrode should be installed at a distance of at least 6 feet from the original ground rod. This spacing helps to ensure that the two electrodes are effectively dissipating current into different areas of the earth, minimizing the potential for interaction between the electrodes. In some cases, it may be necessary to install multiple ground rods to achieve the required ground resistance. The NEC does not limit the number of ground rods that can be installed, as long as each rod is installed in accordance with the code requirements. When installing multiple ground rods, it is important to maintain adequate spacing between the rods to avoid reducing their effectiveness. The minimum spacing requirement is typically 6 feet, but in some cases a greater spacing may be necessary to achieve the desired ground resistance. The type of ground rod used can also affect the ground resistance. Ground rods are typically made of copper-clad steel or galvanized steel. Copper-clad steel rods offer better corrosion resistance and are generally preferred in areas with high soil moisture or corrosive soil conditions. The diameter and length of the ground rod also affect the ground resistance. Longer and thicker rods generally provide lower ground resistance. The NEC specifies minimum dimensions for ground rods, which must be at least 8 feet in length and at least 5/8 inch in diameter. However, in some cases, it may be necessary to use longer or thicker rods to achieve the required ground resistance. In addition to ground rods, other types of grounding electrodes can be used in a single-family residence. A metal underground water pipe, if it is in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet, can be used as a grounding electrode. However, the water pipe must be supplemented by another type of grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or a concrete encased electrode. A concrete encased electrode, also known as a UFA ground, consists of at least 20 feet of bare copper conductor encased in concrete. The concrete must be in direct contact with the earth. UFA grounds are often used in new construction, as they can provide a very low ground resistance. The ground ring is another type of grounding electrode that can be used in a single-family residence. A ground ring consists of a bare copper conductor that is buried in the earth in a continuous loop. The ground ring must be at least 20 feet in length and must be buried at a depth of at least 2.5 feet. The NEC also permits the use of other types of grounding electrodes, such as plate electrodes and other listed grounding electrodes. However, these types of electrodes are less commonly used in single-family residences. The grounding electrode system must be properly bonded to the service equipment and to other metallic components in the electrical system. This bonding ensures that all metallic components are at the same potential, minimizing the risk of electrical shock. The bonding conductors must be sized in accordance with NEC Table 250.66. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode to the service equipment. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by NEC Table 250.66 based on the size of the service entrance conductors. The equipment grounding conductor provides a path for fault current to return to the source from electrical equipment. The size of the equipment grounding conductor is determined by NEC Table 250.122 based on the rating of the overcurrent protective device. In addition to the grounding electrode system, the NEC also requires that all metallic water pipes and gas pipes be bonded to the grounding system. This bonding helps to prevent stray currents from causing corrosion of the pipes. The bonding conductors must be sized in accordance with NEC Section 250.104. The grounding electrode system must be installed in accordance with the NEC requirements. Failure to properly install the grounding electrode system can result in electrical shock, fire, or other hazards. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the grounding electrode system is installed correctly. In summary, the NEC requires a grounding electrode system for all single-family residences. This system must include a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod, a metal underground water pipe, or a concrete encased electrode. If a single ground rod is used, it must have a resistance to ground of 25 ohms or less. If the resistance is greater than 25 ohms, a supplemental electrode is required. The grounding electrode system must be properly bonded to the service equipment and to other metallic components in the electrical system.